So on today's show, we're going to be talking about the Beatitudes still, but we're going to be dipping back a little bit into the Dealing with Loss series, talking about mourning and comfort. So we'll be right back right after this. So what's going on, everybody tuning in live on Facebook and YouTube and on Twitter? I would like to welcome you to Table Talk, where we're trying to bridge the gap between the church and the community. I'm your host, Mr. Table Talk, Javon Lawrence, and today's title, I seem to can't get away from this topic, but today's title is called "To Mourn versus Comfort in God 101." Where we're just going to be talking about the difference between mourning by yourself, mourning alone, versus being comforted in God and what that looks like. So, you know how we do around this time. Oh, and this Table Talk is brought to you by and courtesy of the Table Talk Weekly Devotional that's posted on our blog page. The link is in the description below. So after the show, go ahead and follow us on our blog page so you can stay up to date with the topics before I even come on Sunday. So you know how we do around this time. Let's connect with one another by saying hello to one another and shouting out your city and your states. And I'm going to go ahead and get into some comments real quick. See who's all on here with us. Good morning, baby. Good morning. Top of the morning. Pastor T, good morning. Good morning. Let's see who all rolled over and got out the bed with us this morning. My spiritual dad, good morning. Good morning. This is going to be a real interesting topic on today. A little different. So to everyone watching, greetings and salutations, sir. How you doing this morning? My brother Marcus is on here. So we're going to go ahead and get into our question for today. Again, our title is To Mourn versus Comfort in God 101. What is the difference? What does comfort in God looks like? And what does mourning alone looks like? So we're going to go ahead and get into our question for today, which is, should people comfort with words or with actions? Should people comfort when someone is dealing with some type of loss? Should we comfort them in words or in actions? And real quick, while y'all are answering that, you probably see the shirt I have on right now. This is the We Fight from Victory. This is on the J-Law Wear and Accessories page. The link is in the description also if you would like to cop or get your own hoodie. We have different colors. We got the shirts, different sizes. So go ahead and check that out. Yes, I have my own clothing store, so I had to put that out there real quick. A lot of people don't know. So, okay, so let's see. What do we have with do we have any? Nope, no comments yet. So again, I think something just popped up, but I'm just going, okay. It depends on what the person may need, but I think actions is better because sometimes we don't know what to say. I like that. Sometimes we just do not know what to say, and we're going to talk about that also with how comfort looks, because that is very true. A lot of people don't always know what to say when it comes to comfort, so you kind of just have to go with the flow with it. So it's case by case. I like that. Yes, Dad. It is case by case, because I guess you could say it depends on where a person is in their grieving process. It's certain things that you can say to someone who was towards the end that you can't say to someone that's towards the beginning. My brother Marcus said actions. You don't have to say a word, and just your being there is comforting, aka support. Absolutely. 100% agree with that. These are all good answers. I see a couple of more people came in, so I'm going to go ahead and pop this up again. The question that I just asked for those who just tuned in is, should people comfort with words or actions? Should people comfort with words or action? And with this, there's no wrong answer. But there are wrong ways to do it, if that makes sense. So, again, this is the second verse in the Beatitudes, which means to mourn, which talk about mourn and comfort. So our show is called To Mourn versus Comfort in God 101 Revealed. Because the truth is, a lot of people don't know how to comfort. So we're gonna get into that. So let's go and get into the show. Just remember, from the couch to wherever you're watching, I'm not trying to offend anyone. This is just table talk. So and this acting stupid again. So our foundational text is coming from Matthews 5 and 4. Matthews 5 and 4. In the King James Version, it reads, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." So, you know what we do around this time. Grab your coffee. I'm live on Instagram too. Grab your coffee, grab your water, grab your juice, grab your soda, grab whatever it is that you're going to grab on today. So come on, y'all. Let's table talk. So we have a quote. We're going to start off with this quote, and this is a pretty decent quote. Today's quote comes from a grieving person. I was in a group, and this is what this person in this group said, because I asked the same question. I asked this question, and they said, "Don't lecture people. Don't try to explain their suffering to them. Simply just be there." Again, don't lecture people. Don't try to explain their suffering to them. Simply just be there for them. I mean, what else can we say after that? Like, that's just. We're gonna talk about this later, but a lot of people also like to think or like to try to fix people, and we're gonna get into this topic of fixing people later. This need that people have to try to fix people. We're gonna get into that later, and like I said earlier, this just seems like I just can't get past this dealing with loss. Like when I saw this in the scripture, I was just kind of like, okay, here we go again. If you don't know, if you don't follow us, just know that in December, I did a whole series on dealing with loss where we was talking about the right way or the wrong. Pretty much there is really no wrong way to grieve. There's really no wrong way to come at God when you're grieving, when you're hurting. But we like to tell people there is. So if you want all the information from there, you'll have to go back to that series. Later on, I'll put that link in the description also, so you'll be able to find it easier, or you could just go to YouTube, go to the playlist, and it's the Dealing with Loss series. So we're going to touch on it a little bit here. So again, I kind of been doing some talking. So our foundational text is Matthews 5 and 4, where it says, "Blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted." Now here we go again. We see this word blessed. And the last couple of weeks, I've been explaining blessed to be positioned in life by God to be victorious. The application of this looks like to be positioned by God in life through his directions to win. Now, I know you say, how blessed or winning and mourning, how does that go together? How that seems like two separate things. How can I be winning when I'm in this state of loss, or I'm grieving, or I'm depressed, or whatever, however you may be feeling? How am I winning in this situation? Again, blessed means no matter what you're going through, you're winning. So let's go ahead and talk about put that back up, eh? Oh, thank you, Mother Beetle. Thank you. So When it comes to this word mourn, let's go ahead and get into it. The word mourn means the feeling of grief and sorrow. Again, the word mourn means the feeling of grief and to feel sorrow. Wait a minute, rewind it back and slow it down. The Greek application is to experience a sensation or an impression or feeling of pain. When you're grieving, when you've lost someone, you have a sensation of or an impression of feeling pain. So grieving is pain. That's the first thing we need to understand. Grieving is pain. To mourn means to be in pain. You are feeling some type of physical, mental, whatever it is, you're feeling some type of pain. That is what mourning means. Now, this feeling, what I want to let you know, I had a conversation with someone earlier, and no matter what you're going through, no matter where you are in life, this feeling of mourning, I have to say this slow. We all have to experience this. I got to say it to the people watching on Instagram. You have to go through this experience. You have to go through the experience of pain due to mourning. There's no getting around it. The Bible tells us that there's a time and a season for everything. There's a time to be happy and there's a time to be sad. It's a time to mourn. There's a time to rejoice. There's a time and a season for everything. So you have to go through this process of mourning. We can't get around it. In our lives, we all will experience this. Now, let's get one thing clear. And this is one of the things that we need to stop telling people. Just because we have to experience this does not mean that God is causing it. Just because we have to experience this feeling of loss, this feeling of pain, that does not mean that God has placed us here to feel this feeling, to be sad, to be mad, to feel lost, to feel depressed. God did not put us in this position for that. Emotions come and go. You'll know if you lost somebody, some days you're high, some days you're low, some days you're good, and some days you're just simply not. Some days and we're talking about in the beginning process, the middle process, and wherever you are in this process. The thing is, you have your ups and downs. It's life. It is not God putting this on you. This is just life. Now, I'm not even going to say, well, God allows it, because that's another bad thing to say. We already know this. God is in control of everything. You don't have to tell me God allowed this. We don't have to tell other people God. That is just common sense. If you can't say anything that's going to help, how can I say this? If it ain't going to help me, not even to be better because then that's another thing. You won't get past it. This is dealing with loss, or dealing with this feeling of pain because of loss. It's something that you just won't get on. It's not like you're going to wake up one day and, oh, I feel better. That's not how this works either. Okay. So again, this is not something that is put on us by God to go through. Like, this is not a punishment. This is not a test. God does not test us in these ways, as we like to say, and I'm just going off script right now. God is testing your faith. What does that even mean? Somebody tell me, what does that even mean? Like, God is testing your faith. Here we go. Quick teacher. Faith is the proper understanding of who God is. God is not going to take something away from you to prove who he is to you. God doesn't have to prove anything to you, to me, to anyone. God works through, it's either you're going to choose to believe me or you're going to choose not to. Now, life, I like to say, if I throw something up in the air, what's going to happen? It's going to come back down. The choices and decisions that we make is what we live in. And like I said, and when it comes to loss is just something that naturally has to happen. Death is something that naturally has to happen. So it's not like, okay, God is like, I'm going to pick you to go through this. No, it's just a natural a thing that happens. But the thing that hurts is when something happens unexpectedly. But because things happen unexpectedly, God does not put us in it. God does not. I'm saying this to be very careful. I'm trying to be very careful. God does not. God does allow things to happen, but God let things flow naturally. And with anything flowing naturally, God is not allowing it to happen for a specific reason for you. So God allowed things to happen. Yes, that's true, but a person mourning do not want to hear that. So, and to prove that God is not doing this to punish you or to test you, or the next word that we're going to look at is the word comfort. And the word comfort means, there we go, it means to be called for, to be brought in. This means that we are invited. So when we think of the word comfort, we have to think of it as not things that you say. Oh my goodness, here we go. Comfort is an action. And it says it right there. You are invited in. Think of a baby who hurts themselves. What do you do? Are you going to go to that baby and say, well, God knows best? Well, you deserve that because you're going to comfort them. You're going to bring them in. You're going to invite them in to feel better, to feel safe, to feel protected. So the purpose of comfort is to make people feel that they're invited in, to make people feel like there's a safe place where they can get through whatever process that they're about to get through. This is what comfort in God looks like. Put that back up for me again, but I gotta get this on. Oh, that was you. That was funny. Okay, so we're comforting. We understand that mourning means a feeling of pain. So comfort is the opposite. So the verses for mourn to comfort is mourning is pain and comfort is being brought in so that pain could be managed. Not taken away, but managed. Because like I said earlier, and I'm going to say this, the pain do not go away. I lost my mother and I can't even tell you. Hold on. 20 years ago. I go by how old my son is. 20 years ago, I lost my mother. I still feel the pain 20 years later. But the difference is now, and I have my roller coaster days. 20 years later, I'm going up and down, up and down. It doesn't matter how long you lost them. You still going to go through the process. And to be honest with you, the process will not end until we get to heaven. Or this is over. There is no time limit. Also, we talked about that in the Dealing with Loss series. There is no time limit. We can't tell people how long it takes for them to get over the feeling, which is something that you just will never get over. You'll never get over losing someone close, especially if they're close to you. You'll never get over it. So, with that, just remember that you are positioned in life by God to win, even when you're in this feeling of pain, because he's going to call you in. So those who mourn will be called for, taken in, and cared for by God. Now, what does being cared for by God look like? That's the important question, because a lot of people don't even understand what it looks like to even be comforted. A lot of people, that's the sad thing. In our adult life, we remember how it feels to be comforted. We remember as a child when you would get, as we'll say, you get a little boo-boo and your parent, your mama or your dad or whoever was your legal guardian or who raised you, they will take care of that little boo-boo. But as an adult, do we going off of memories of comfort rather than being comforted, period? Because, thank you, a lot of people don't even understand what comfort is. Now, we said, before I gave you that definition, can you honestly say that you knew what comfort was? Did you know that comfort meant to bring someone in, to invite them in, to call for them? Did we really know that's what comfort meant or means? Or are we going off of memories? And then, okay, y'all gonna get mad at me. I said earlier, don't take this personal. This is just table talk. And a lot of times, if we have to comfort someone too much, we get annoyed by them, and we just start ignoring them because we have that mindset. Oh, you should be over this by now. Oh, you still tripping off that? So let's go ahead. I got 10 minutes. We're gonna get through this. So I'm gonna call this how we try to fix people. These are things that we should look. I'm saying this very slow. We should not do for people. These are things that we should not say when we're trying to comfort people. First thing, I understand how you feel. Do you really? Do you really understand how someone is feeling because when they've lost someone? Because, hey, we all have different feelings and we all manage this differently. I can't tell you I know how you feel because your feelings are not my feelings, and I may feel a certain type of way the way that you felt. You may have went through a totally different situation. I can't tell you how you feeling. I can't do that because I don't know. And because we're trying to say I know how you feel, that's not helping. So do not tell people you know how you feel. Next one. You shouldn't feel that way. Now, this goes more towards where we feel a certain type of way towards God because we've lost someone. We've said this in the Dealing with Loss series. I gave you 2 examples how they were. Yes, Marcus, people handle pain differently. Mary and Martha. Mary was upset. And she just snapped out on Jesus. Like, if you would have been here, my brother wouldn't have died. Her approach was aggressive to Jesus. And Martha, her approach was doubtful. Well, they both were doubtful. Like, if you would have been here, maybe my brother wouldn't have died. They both had different ways of approaching Jesus. But my question is this: did Jesus condemn either one of them for the way they came at him? No. What did Jesus do? Both of them came to him. They both came different ways. And because they both came different ways, Jesus simply went and raised him from the dead. Jesus didn't say, oh, you coming at me sideways. I ain't finna. No, he gonna stay dead. No, Jesus did not do that. He still healed him. So there's no wrong way, or there's no wrong way to feel when you lose someone. There's no wrong way. That's foolishness to tell someone control your emotions when you lost someone. That's when you at your most emotional point. Let it out. You have to. Don't hold it in. Next one, number 3. Okay. At least they're in a better place. Stop that. Stop that. The suffering is over. Stop that. No. We need to stop putting people in heaven and hell, because I know it's a nice thing to say, but is it the truth? I'm gonna leave that right there. I don't, when someone has lost someone and I have to speak to them, I'm not saying they're in a better place. I'm not saying they're in the worst place. I'm concerned about you. How are you doing? If I ask that question, or I might just listen to you, like, go ahead, just get it off your chest. But I'm not about to tell you they're in a better place and the suffering is over. Is the suffering over? Because the suffering for you is still happening. Come on, y'all. Real talk. We have to be careful with what we say. So I cannot tell you the suffering is over, because it's not. And it won't be over soon. Because you're dealing with loss, you're dealing with emotion, you're dealing with the feeling of pain that you're missing someone so much that now you're agonizing. Even Jesus was at the point where he was about to lose his own life. He was at the point of agony. Agony. If Jesus had to deal with agony and tripping and trying to get in his mind that he had to do this and there was no other way, so I got to get myself positioned right, So I can't, if Jesus had to do it, we got to do it. So there's no way that we should be telling people to stop or whatever that we be saying that they in a better place. We just got to stop. We just got to stop that. Number 4, there's a reason for everything / because God is in control. How is that helping? There's a reason for everything. What's that reason then? Because God is in control. What does that mean? That is not helping. That is not comforting. That is not drawing people in. That is not calling people in. What that is doing is drawing people away from God. So now you're telling me that God intentionally did this to me and the person that I love? God intentionally took this person away from me because he's in control? Or he a big bully like that? Or he want to play with people's lives like that? We have to be careful with what we're saying to people, because not only are we are pushing them away, but we're not pushing them away from us. We're pushing them away from God. And that is a form of making God's name void, because we're making God's name worthless because we're telling people he did this because he's in control. What does that mean? You're confusing me even more. Next one. I got two more. Other things we need to stop doing. Just give it time. Time heals. Stop it. No. Time does not heal, but we learn more and it helps us get through. Time gives us a chance to get in the position of victory, to get in the position to win, so God can comfort us. But the comforting doesn't stop. God, we're continually being drawn in. It's not something that's just going to, 3 years from now, I'm just going to feel a whole lot better and I'm going to be ready to move on. That is not true. God calls us in. We're blessed. We're in this position by God to be victorious because we're in a safe place where we're able to get through our process, however we're going to grieve. And the last one, you have to be strong for your spouse, your children, etc. You have to be strong. They need you right now. You know what this does? This diminishes the need for a person's healing. This diminishes the time that they need. You're cutting their time short from their process so they can get past. Yeah, they may need me, but I need someone too. The key point to all this, and like I said, God uses people to comfort. God uses one another to comfort. So if God manifests his will on this earth and God uses men and women and children or whoever to comfort, who's going to comfort the one that's doing all the comforting? We can't tell someone to bottle their emotions in so they can be good for someone else, because if you ain't good for yourself first, you ain't going to be good for no one else. So come on, everybody. Y'all know what we do around this time. Let's break this thing down full circle. Okay, Brother Beto, I just saw your comment. God needed another angel. Really? Really? The creator of all, the being of beings, the supreme needed another angel when he created everything? Okay. So let's break this thing down full circle. Oh man, this is Matthews 5:4 reads like this: positioned in life by God to win are those who have a deep regret and loss, for they will be called for, taken in, and cared for by God through each other or through others, through one another. My final thoughts is this: through kind words, through kind actions, not being overbearing, unsympathetic, or lacking patience with others through their process is how we comfort others. Through support, through humility, and just being there for people. Just think, if it was you, how would you want others to act towards you or speak towards you or be towards you if you were going through a process like this? How would you want someone to come to you? So blessed are those who are called in because they are there even then to be comforted by God. That God is calling you in still. No matter how you feel, no matter what you think of him, God is still calling you in. So it's time to wrap this one up, y'all. Everybody on Instagram, this was my first time. I appreciate y'all who's on here. Everyone who's on here, I thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. And bring it in. Still love me. I may have said some things that may have touched you a little bit, but bring it in. Still love me. Tap the heart button. Tap the care button. And if Table Talk has touched and agreed with you in any way, you know what I'm going to ask you to do? Describe this show with 3 emojis. Just describe this show with 3 emojis. And next week, I don't even know what I'm talking about next week, but it's going to still be with the Beatitudes, and we're still going to be going in the process of being blessed. The characteristics that we have with God. So I will see you here next week. I'm your host, Mr. Table Talk, Javon Lawrence. And just remember, I ain't forgetting it this week, Marcus. All I can do is walk you to the door. The rest is up to you. I'll see y'all in about 30 minutes with the Movement Underground 9.0. See y'all next week also.